So today I'm going to share with you and show you how one of my students was able to hit the driver straighter, but also pick up some serious yardage as well. So I would imagine that if you're watching this video, you would absolutely love to hit the ball with the driver straighter and also a little bit longer as well. We all would, it would help most of our games. And today I'm going to share with you and show you the journey I took one of my students on to enable him to do just that, hit the ball straighter with a little bit more distance as well. We've got some information to show you. I'm going to show you just how I did that using the Swing Index app. So Rick is a 10 handicap golfer and he got in touch with me via the Swing Index app, submitted his swings, and the first thing he did was kind of gave me a little bit of information about his game and what he wanted. And with the driver, he wanted to hit the ball a little bit straighter and he wanted a little bit more distance too, as I'm sure you do. Now, when Rick sent his swing in, we can see the videos here, and my job was then to analyze his golf swing. So what I did is I ran through the 21 different elements and I marked exactly what I wanted him to work on and what we needed to pull out as being the important aspects. Now, what happens with many golf swings, and I'm sure you might be able to relate to this, is we tend to look at the effects. We tend to look at what is the ball doing, and in Rick's case, he was tending to miss the shots out to the right of the target. He had a slight miss, and then when he added a little bit more speed, that miss tended to get more exaggerated, turning into a bit of a slice. He'd missed the fairways. And the beauty with the information I had from Rick was I had his stats there, and you can see that he was tending to miss 75% of his shots to the right of the target. Now, the key to golf coaching, and this is really where you're going to get the most out of your game, is understanding what we call cause and effect. Rick was looking at the effect. He was believing that there was something happening at an impact and the ball was missing to the right, and that's exactly what was happening, but that was the effect. My job as the coach is to really dive deep into what is the cause. And that was really how we were able to change Rick's golf swing, change his delivery, and ultimately gain him more speed and more consistency. Now, when I ran through Rick's golf swing and I looked at it in detail, the two things that I noticed was that his trail hand grip wasn't quite right, and that was affecting his ability to hinge or set the golf club in the backswing. That was the cause. The effect was he wasn't able to, gain control of the golf club, and his delivery wasn't as we wanted. He had the club working a little bit across the ball, and he was missing the shots out to the right. Due to the fact that he wasn't able to hinge the club correctly, he wasn't able to make use of the power or the speed in his golf swing. So let's run through why that grip was an issue for Rick, and then we'll kind of go through the results and how it helped him. So he had what we class as a trail strong hand. So his right hand, because he's a right-handed golfer, was too much underneath the golf club. Now, we're going to make this far more exaggerated than it was in his case, but the right hand was far too much under the golf club. Now, when we have that hand under the club, it really limits what we can do with our wrist. You can see that I really can't use my wrist as I'd want to from that position. As soon as that hand gets a little bit more on top, we're able to use that wrist. You can see, and I've got far more movement in that golf club. So as soon as Rick had his hand too much under the golf club, he wasn't able to leverage the wrists as we'd like, and his hinge wasn't quite what we wanted. So the exercise we did was I asked him to hold the golf club out in front of him with his lead hand, with the grooves or the top of the driver face perfectly vertical, as you can see there. What I asked him to then do is have the handle in front of his body and just let his trail hand hang fairly naturally in front of that club. I asked him then to hold it very much in his fingers, like this. Now, when he rotated the golf club back in front of him, his hand was a lot more on top of the golf club, which is what we wanted. It would have been very unnatural for Rick to place his hand underneath the golf club this way and grip it, which is actually how he did hold the golf club. But going through this little exercise, once we'd got the golf club in its position with a leading edge nice and vertical, it was just a case of letting his trail hand hang fairly naturally opposite the handle and then wrap his fingers around. Now, to Rick, that would have felt like his hand was very much on top. And the little test I gave him was I said, can you hold your forearm and get the golf club up to horizontal? As you can see, I can do there. That tells me that I've got the right range of motion in my trail wrist, which gives me some really good ideas or indications that I'm actually holding it quite nicely. As Rick slipped to his older grip, he would have a lot of difficulty getting that club any more than, let's say, a foot off the ground. So we gave him a little exercise to place the hand on the club correctly. We gave him a little drill that gave him some feedback and some awareness as to kind of a checkpoint if he's doing it correctly. And then we asked him to hit some shots. Now, the instruction I gave Rick was to try and hinge the club a little bit earlier in the golf swing. What I really wanted to achieve was I wanted to achieve more wrist set, more hinge, but I wanted him to gain control of the golf club a little earlier in that golf swing. The later he hinged that golf club, the more kind of loose or long it got at the top, and that was what was causing the initial change in direction and that cutting across the golf ball. So let me hit a shot with that nice trail hand grip, and then we'll go through the results that we got from Rick. And luckily, Rick was able to hit a lot more drives like that. So when we look at the new golf swing from Rick, and we can see the ball flight here, he was able to take away a lot of that curve that was causing him to miss the fairways. And you'll also notice from the club speeds at the bottom that he got a huge boost in the club speed. He was able to swing the club a little faster, and the communication I had from Rick was that he didn't actually feel like he was trying to swing the club faster. We just gave him some movements which were more conducive to creating club head speed. And if you can achieve more speed without actually trying to hit the ball harder, that's a really powerful thing to have to your game. Now, when we look at his rating through the Swing Index app, once he'd made those changes and he'd resubmitted his swing to me, I rescored it, and you can see how his score improved and his golf swing was improving as well. So Rick had a process of what he needed to work on. He had me giving him some feedback and some advice. He was able to improve his score. He was able to increase his club head speed, hit more fairways, and Rick's now enjoying his golf a lot more and hitting more shots to the green from the short stuff, and that's resulting in some lower scores. So the real message here is, yes, we need to understand what the effect is. What are you struggling with? Is it a hook, a push, a high shot, a low shot? But if you really want to get better, it's diving deep into what is the real cause of that. If you can get to the root cause of your problem and apply the fix there, that's the real way to start to develop your game, shoot lower scores, and just have more fun on the golf course, just like Ricky's having. Thanks for watching. Usual stuff is down below. If you've got a comment, I'd love to hear that. If you, the like button down there, give that a hit. And also, if you're not a subscriber, click that button. Would love you to be part of the channel. I really believe these videos can help you play your best golf. Thanks for watching.